Well, hi everyone. I am back with the other half of our training from last week's tribe gathering. So this is a training on recruiting, and whether you think you are a recruiter or not, I really am going to challenge you to make sure you watch this to the end, because I think you'll find some things that you weren't expecting. So I want to start by just sharing the slide that they gave us that was shared at the meeting about everything being more fun with friends. And it's true. If you think about ever going to any kind of event, in the meeting I shared about going to a bridal shower where I didn't know anyone, and it would have been so much more fun and easy if I'd had a friend with me. So we've all been in those situations where we don't know anyone in the room and we wish we had a friend with us. Well, it can be the same for your Pampered Chef business as well. Um, and um, sorry, I got to get back to my notes here and get them in the right order. So obviously it is so much more fun to do something with a friend, especially something new and different. And so let's talk about how this applies to your business. So I want you to write down the names of everyone who comes to mind who could be helped by the Pampered Chef. Maybe somebody who could use extra income, or they have kids that participate in summer sports and activities that they need that money for, or maybe they're planning a vacation. The extra income would help make more fun, or maybe they need to pay off some debt that they've accumulated as gas prices skyrocketed last year and food prices went up. Maybe they've expressed an interest in the past to join your team, but they just never have. And you probably think of other people. Maybe you have a friend who is a total foodie. They are always posting pictures of what they made for dinner. Maybe you have a friend who really hates to cook, and you know how much having the right tools in your kitchen has made a difference for you. So think of who you know. Maybe it's just somebody you really enjoy being around. I reached out to a past host this morning because I just love working with her. And I've asked her about it before, and it, wasn't the right time. And this may not be the right time, but I reached out to her to her again, and I just said, I think of you all the time. And I just would love to have you on our team. So think of, try to come up with at least a list of at least 8 or 10 people that you can think of that could benefit from this business. This past host had actually posted a couple of weeks ago on Facebook that she was looking for a new job. And while I know she's single, she, supports herself. She also works a couple part-time jobs in addition to her full-time job. Pampered Chef could be that extra thing, and where she doesn't have to be out working outside of her home literally 60 to 80 hours a week. So you just don't know who this business might bless. And I would encourage you to, keep adding to that list as you run into people this month, as you do, any kind of parties you might be doing this month. Who could this business benefit, especially if it's somebody you already know? Again, because it is really fun to do this with a friend. Okay, so the second thing that I'm going to encourage you to do is focus on the dream and not the deal. So with that said, we're actually going to talk about the deal first, because there is so much going on for everyone as consultants in May. So this slide has a whole lot on it, and obviously there's the host specials at the very top, but let's talk about what's going on down here at the bottom. We've got the $25 startup kit and 2 low price bundles that they can choose from this month. So any qualifying show is going to give that host a $25 kit credit, as long as you remember to add it to their cart before you submit the party. You might even go back through old parties and find people that you've given kit credits to that they never actually used. So just being able to start for $25 obviously is a wonderful opportunity, and it's especially good if you have a friend who's hosted parties for you. She has a lot of Pampered Chef in her kitchen. She may not need a full kit. Nobody needs a full kit to start this business and be successful. The actual startup kit with the paperwork, the apron, the couple little goodies. What they need is they need the website subscription, which they get 90 days of that, and they need everything in Pampered Chef back office. That's all they need to start a successful Pampered Chef business. But, obviously the bundles are great and they are options they can add on. This month, in addition to the $25 kit, they also can, I don't know how that happened. Let's go back again. They also can earn that fast track bonus at $750. So when they submit $750 in their first 30 days in business, they earn this selection of summer products and the cup slicer. So this is a big deal, you guys. In addition to that, they can earn the new deluxe stand mixer. And we've had 2 consultants earn that new stand mixer in the last week and a half or so, consultants who started in April and have achieved that stand mixer, both of them well within their 30 days. And then they also get the 25% off discount codes that they can share with their friends. And we'll come back to that in just a minute. So those are a lot of great deals for someone to think about joining in the month of May. And actually, to the next slide, they also then can earn the tumbler if they welcome a new consultant during May. If they use those coupons we're going to talk about in a minute. They also can earn free for all when they join in May and submit qualifying sales. So there is so much more. It's not just the new consultant rewards under recruiting. It's also what's available to you and me that any May recruit can also earn. So let's go back to this page and talk about how you're going to focus on the dream and not the deal. Because when you paint the picture of the business, the deal is fantastic. I mean, who doesn't like to get a great deal? And those are things that you can add, but the focus needs to be on the dream. What could change this person's life? How could this business make this person's life better? It's all about really being authentic. I'm going to come off screen share here. It's really about being authentic. So like I shared, how I reached back out to this host because I authentically want her to be on our team. I think she would be wonderful. I love talking to her. I love her personality. And so when you talk to people, that's the key. And the hardest part about recruiting is making it all about them and not about you. So the secret is to ask questions and then shut up. So you've heard me talk on if you've listened to any of the live feeds, the weekday live feeds, I've talked about this course I'm taking. And I was watching a video this morning, a training from it. And there was actually a guest speaker and he was phenomenal. And I won't go into all the details of why he's worth listening to, but he's worth listening to. And he described how he built his business listening to people. And he said, when we talk to people, we're like Pac-Man, and they're talking and we're talking and what happens here? Nothing, right? But when you learn to listen and you just ask questions and then listen, you're standing here and they're going, boop, boop, boop. And as you get closer, what happens? You're just listening. They're talking. And then you can make them feel important. And when they feel important, they respond. And you are authentic. I'll share more about that in a live feed this week because it was a very compelling visual picture. And there's some research that goes behind it that I was amazed to hear. But to recruiting, authenticity, talking about what their dreams are, talking about what they're nervous about as we head into summer. If they're a teacher and they aren't going to get paid for 3 months, how many times have you, if you've been in the business more than a year or two, you talk to a teacher midsummer about doing a party and they're like, oh, none of my friends have any money. We won't have any money until September because they're not working during the summer. And, often people plan for that. My dad was a teacher. Guess what? By the end of the summer, we were eating grilled cheese sandwiches and tomatoes from the garden every single day because we didn't have any money left for food. And so, people, they might plan for it, but they tend to run out of money. We talked about all the other things that people have going on this summer. Maybe they just need something to call their own. If they are a teacher and they're used to kind of having that day to themselves, and now they're home with the kids and it's just a lot. There's so many reasons people start a business like this, and it may or may not be the same reason you started, but it's the dream. It's the dream of their own money, maybe their own spending money that's outside of the family budget. It's the dream of doing something for their kids that they've never been able to afford. It's the dream of doing something for themselves or their spouse. It's the dream of doing something for a family member. It's the dream of so many things. And while you don't want to get into I remember so clearly, oh my goodness, many, many years ago, 30 some years ago, this couple that we knew who sat down with us at our dining room table one day, and there was a list of questions they were asking us. What was your dream car? What would be our dream vacation? What would be our dream whatever? And they had an agenda of questions to ask us to convince us to join their network marketing company that they were part of at the time. And it felt so inauthentic, honestly, within the first 20 to 30 minutes, especially when we kept asking them, is it this company? And they kept deferring the answer. They never lied and said no. They just deferred it, which was this company's tactic. So again, make sure as you're listening to somebody that you're listening with the intent to understand and ask them another question. So many times the next question is simply, well, what difference would that make in your life? Well, how would you feel about that? Well, what do you think your family would think about that? When would you fit that in to everything else you have going on? Just listen, ask, allow there to be space. Stop trying to think of, okay, what am I going to say next? What do I say next? I don't know what to say next. So often I find that we don't recruit because we're so worried about what to say next that we stumble all over ourselves. We go into what I call the dinosaur brain. We can't think. And all we have to do is get the focus off of ourselves and onto how this business could change that person's life. And we don't know if we don't ask. And it's not just asking if they want to join. It's asking, what is the dream? What is the dream? So the call to action on this one is to schedule time on your calendar to reach out to those people that you've just added to that list. And then to continue to add new names as you think of them. I want you to think of recruiting as not something you do to someone but something you do for someone. And I also want you to tell yourself the story that you can recruit, because so often we think we can't. We think we have to know all the answers. We have to know how to onboard a new consultant. We have to know how to train them. You don't have to know anything other than that this person has a need and Pampered Chef might be the perfect thing to fill it. And the truth is, they're not going to know until they try. I have a challenge for our team that this month, everybody does at least one party. Everybody's active and everybody welcomes at least one new consultant. Can you imagine the excitement and energy on our team if each of us submitted at least one party and each of us welcomed at least one new consultant? Can you imagine? And I don't want to, this sounds, sorry, that came out kind of backwards. We don't know what this business may or may not do for the next person that joins our team. Might not be their thing, and that's okay. But it might be the thing they never knew they needed. So I encourage you to think about that. I would love your questions or comments posted below this video. And let's welcome the world to Pampered Chef. It's not for everybody, but it can be for anybody. So think about the people in your life. Be authentic. Be full of what is the dream it could fill for them. Let them do all the talking and you do all the listening, and let them feel important and just see what happens. All right. Well, thanks for watching to the end. And again, if you have questions, post them in the comments below. Have a good one. Bye.